With the release of Cold War, Treyarch has made substantial changes to the zombie mode. Among these many innovations, they changed how players interact with the characters in their story. Instead of having a set crew of characters, Cold War introduced the operator system. The operator system allows players to choose from a large pool of operators to play as, and these operators are full of different outfits, unlockables, and overall customization. While one could make the argument that this level of customization is really good for the zombie mode, and one that Activision is very happy with monetizing, this operator system has several problems that go down to the core of what makes zombies zombies. First of all, these operators lack any sort of character depth. Yes, they do technically have quotes and they do react to certain things like taking damage or dealing a lot of damage, but these are usually non-specific quotes and quips. They don't usually feel like they're interacting with the map itself. And you could argue that these operators have a personality. Like, we know who Woods is, and when we hear a Woods quote, we can recognize that as something that Woods would say. So it's not a lack of personality per se, but it's a lack of character. These operators don't really have any sort of interaction or care or character or thoughts on what's going on around them. How does Woods feel about Park? Does Woods get along with Adler? What role does Stitch play in the overall story of zombies? There is no flavor in this dialogue. And actually, that's the best word to describe it. These operators are flavorless. Now, credit where credit's due, Treyarch did attempt to remedy this a little bit by the third-party characters, the Maxes, the Weavers, the Kravchenkos, the little talking heads in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. And I'll admit, those do work on some level. They are the characters that impact the story, and they can provide interesting perspectives on what's going on. For example, in D Machine, when you go through the Dark Aether for the first time and you lose contact with these people, and then coming back to reality, you regain that contact and they're worried about you. Something happened. That's a cool little bit of storytelling.
You didn't go through the portal, did you?
Or in Mauer Toten, when you're taken by Omega and you have all of those Omega operators talking to you. That's a really good use of this mechanic.
I can't blame you for grabbing those. The things I could achieve with an extra pair of hands.
So I don't want that aspect of zombies removed entirely, but these operators and the system kind of progresses into a lack of atmosphere in all of these maps. This third-party character requires players to be within contact with one of those people at all times, and that substantially diminishes the feeling of isolation players can get from zombie maps. Imagine a map like Mob of the Dead, but instead of actual characters, we had the operator system and you just had somebody radioing into you all the time. It would be horrible. Think about 9, those quotes on 9 where they're talking about what happens if we die, is this a dream? That whole mystery, that whole atmosphere of 9 would be ruined if they were just getting a phone call every 5 seconds.
Or did you all just sober up way too fast, huh? Snap right back to the cave? Looks like it's all on me.
And having these third-party characters gives the players an easier way of figuring out Easter eggs, depending on the dialogue, of course. I'm specifically thinking about Firebase E, where Ravnoff and Dr. Peck, even though Dr. Peck is great, where they basically walk you through the entire Easter egg.
This keycard will get you access to the materials needed to make those. This truth serum will make that bastard Peck tell you anything.
Like I said, it's not always a bad thing. I think it worked really well in D Machine and Mauer Toten, but I don't like this formula and I think it detracts so much from the zombies experience. And the sad part is that there's a very easy solution. Why not have both? You can have all of your operators with all of the different cosmetics and bundles for all that stuff over there, but also you can have your set crew of characters that are canon to that map. And those set characters will have that flavorful dialogue and reacting to the map itself. In fact, we've seen this already in zombies before. It was in World War II zombies, so it's entirely possible for the system to happen. Now, it's also important to recognize that yes, this is probably going to take a little bit more development time to write every single specific quote and have all of these fully realized characters go through all of these maps. And then you got to coordinate with voice actor schedules and all of this sort of development stuff, but that's been the standard for zombies for years. So let's not lower our standards here. But I think we can go a step further and have this new system with both canon characters and operators be even better than both systems individually. I want you to imagine set crews, set characters, but with customization options. Like Black Ops 4's face paint, but actually good. Imagine different outfits for completing different challenges, for reaching a certain high ground, for beating the Easter egg, for beating the Easter egg under a certain amount of time, for beating the Easter egg with a specific character that's canon to the story. But let's not just stop there. Imagine Vanguard's operator ranking system, where you could rank up your characters, unlocking not only more outfits, but in Vanguard we actually unlock more quips and dialogue. This could be so much fun. Treyarch could take this huge negative about modern zombies and spin it into a game-changing innovation. After all, Treyarch is pretty darn good for game-changing innovation. Don't believe me? Check out that video, subscribe, and stay beautiful.